We're going to take a look at the chapter 4 parts, chapter 12, 12-1 through 12-4 assessment. And we're going to start by doing all 4 of the partially proficient problems. So problem number 1, solve for x. I want both the simplest radical form if that is applicable, and I would also like the decimal equivalent if that is applicable. Some of these may be whole numbers, which just makes my life a whole lot easier. All right, so I have in my problem 3x squared is equal to 108. Now, I'm not writing this for my health. Obviously, I'm writing this with the intention that you will either take notes or beat me to the answer. So to get the x all by itself, the first step is dividing everything by 3. And so I will end up with x squared is equal to, 36. So then I will take the square root of 36, and that means I have to take the square root of 36. I'll take the square root of x squared and the square root of 36. And I will get x is equal to plus or minus 6. Because, yeah, that was fine. Okay. Now, negative 6 times negative 6 will equal 36, as does 6 times 6. So you do have to include both answers. So in this case, I do not have a simplest radical form. I'll just have plus or minus 6, which I can put on both. I see by your faces, some of you have forgotten the plus or minus part. All right, next problem. Solve by completing the square.
Oh, I can do this.
So, I can do this, says Cooper. X squared minus 2x minus 35 is equal to 0. Now, it says to solve by completing the square. So I know the first thing I have to do is I have to get the quadratic term and the linear term by themselves. And to do that, I'm going to add 35 to both sides. I'm foreshadowing there, I'm sorry. And so I will end up with x squared minus 2x plus something, I wonder what that something could be, is equal to 35. Now, to complete the square, I have to take the coefficient of the linear term and divide by 2. So negative 2 divided by 2 is equal to negative 1. To get this piece right here, I'm going to have to square this, which is equal to positive 1. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides, which gives me x squared minus 2x plus 1 is equal to 36. Now, I know that this is a square binomial that can be factored as x minus 1. And I know it's going to be negative because the linear term is negative. And so that is squared is equal to 36. Take the square root, take the square root. And so I get x minus 1 is equal to plus or minus 6. But wait, we are not done yet, because we need to add 1 to both sides. And so I get x is equal to 1 plus or minus 6. Now, you cannot write 1 plus or minus 6. That is not simplified to the simplest term. So what is 1 plus 6?
7.
So x equals 7. What is 1 minus 6?
Negative 5.
So for my answers, I have 7 and negative 5.
Oh, wait, yeah. Eureka, I found it. Eureka, I found it.
Okay. You are not, Brody. You just are not very detail-oriented at the moment.
I'm just what?
Not very detail-oriented at the moment. Yes.
Okay.
It's like Holly and 26 or something. All right. Problem number 9. Solve by using the quadratic formula. Now, I know the quadratic formula is as follows. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, so now we have our quadratic formula, and from there we can solve this. I can see by the equation my a term is here, my b term, and my c term. So my b is 8. So we end up with negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 8 squared minus 4 times my a value, which is 1, times my c value, which is 7. All over 2 times 1, which is 2. So then let's deal with the discriminant first. 8 squared is 64. So we have the square root of 64 minus
28.
negative 4 times 1 times 7 is negative 28. Man, Cooper is on fire! Negative 64 minus 28 is,
36.
again, 36. So we have 8 plus or minus the square root of 36 all over 2. So then, what is the square root of 36?
6.
So I get negative 8 plus or minus 6 all over 2. Oh, well, that's easy enough. So we have negative 8 plus 6 over 2, which is equal to negative 1. Well, because negative 8 plus 6 is negative 2. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Then we have negative 8 minus 6 over 2. Negative 8 minus 6 is negative 14 divided by 2. So we get negative 7. So my answers are negative 1 and negative 7.
What's the wire on like your?
Excuse me?
What's that wire for?
I'm recording this.
Oh, is it gonna be a video?
Yes.
Hi, Mom.
She's very proud. All right. Next question. Find the value of the discriminant and how many solutions / roots will exist. So the discriminant is just b squared minus 4ac.
Goodness, I'm on top of it.
Don't waste my staples, Mr. Rogers. It will not be a beautiful day in the neighborhood if you continue.
Oh, I get it.
All right. I know. It's hilarious. So we have A, we have B, and we have C. So my B value is negative 5. So I have negative 5 squared minus 4 times A, which is 1, times C, which is 5. So I have 25, because negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. Minus 4, negative 4 times 1 times negative 5, which is negative 20. So I get a discriminant of 5. Two real roots. Because if if the discriminant is greater than 0, then I have 2 real roots. And the reason why I have to specify real is even if we have a discriminant that is less than 0, it is possible for me to have 2 imaginary roots. Because what could be better than imaginary friends? Imaginary answers. All right.